Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the TFT Perspective. So, revisiting our previous show on the troubled nature of India's northeast and what the Indian allegations regarding foreign interference is. Yesterday's events don't seem to be completely, unprecedented or surprising as if what the Indian media is trying to suggest. So, we're going to talk about the use of drone warfare in this new domain, as what we have witnessed yesterday inside Manipur in the Imphal city. Imphal Valley is a very big place, it's almost 10% of Manipur, and a separatist anti and insurgent group known as the Kuki National Army actually used drones. And reportedly, according to many Indian media outlets, the numbers provided are around 25 to 50 drones, which also achieved their targets. And there were massive casualties inside the Indian state of Manipur in the recent escalation of violence in the region between the two major tribes. So, when you talk about overall the nature of Manipur, this region has been troubled since the Indian independence, and there are so many tribes living there. And the mainstream tribes, the Nagas, the Kukis, and the Meiteis, have been at arm's length against each other for a very long time, especially in the 2023 violence. What we had witnessed or what the videos showed was complete, genocidal intent between both tribes. So, we have with us Mr. Wakar K. Korvi. We are going to talk about this issue. Drone strikes inside the Indian Manipur region. Would you call this unprecedented and completely surprising? It took the Indian state by complete shock and surprise, or was this kind of expected after initially we found out reports of drones being used in Indian occupied Kashmir as well?
I think drones have already arrived on the scene, and somehow Indian state has been denying. And surprisingly, like what happened in Bangladesh, now people are blaming that what was the Search and Elsewing and IB doing. I mean, they couldn't even detect or project, as you are saying, and I think it is from Republic TV,
Yes.
and nothing less than Arnab Goswami, who basically their other social media activists make, I would say, a hell out of a mall in Pakistan. For instance, anything happening, a little, even I think there was some mismanagement on a mall in Karachi, and it was shown in, Indian media, mainstream media, as probably,
Look at these hungry people
hungry
trying
people.
to.
So, I think also kind of, I'll point out to Pakistani media, they should also look at what is happening in India, at least from the security point of view, and we must discuss that. Manipur has been on the boil. Coming to the drone, yes, I think in Indian occupied Kashmir, the joint resistance has been, I think, alleged to have been using it for different reasons. So we'll not go into further details, but it is already there. Then there were earlier, some strikes of aerial objects in the same region, the northeast, and Indian Air Force denied it because when you say 50 drones, and Arnab Goswami says that this was just the first wave, and probably when he was talking. His program in the early morning, I think maybe it was the replay that is going on. So this thing is going on. So it means that there are waves of drones. Where is the Indian Air Force?
Yes.
The fifth largest and third largest army, and mind you, there are 60,000 plus.
They seem helpless.
Helpless because, and we'll come to that. Why Indian military is helpless. Basically, Manipur, as you mentioned, since 1947 has been, a thorn in the northeast. Actually, the entire northeast was in revolt. Basically, they were tribal people. Some converted to Christianity. Some still were tribes. And now, if you look at the Kukis, it's very interesting that Kukis not only live in Manipur as a major group, they're also in Nagaland.
Yes.
And then if you look
They're in
at
the Chin state of
the
Myanmar.
the Myanmar Chin state, then they are in Mizoram, even in I think Meghalaya and part of Assam. And they also claim that probably some of them are in Chittagong hill tracts. Basically, they're Chakma tribes because they've been in Bangladesh, but mainly so there is some presence. So if you combine all that, so this is that area, famous area now known as Kuki Zoo area, and they're claiming that this could be, and this is what I think Hasina Wajid also pointed out that maybe Sheikh Hasina, that this is going to be the Christian state or the start of the Christian state. But now we leave it there. So mainly the escalation started last year, and mind you, the chief minister is basically from BJP, and he's a mighty. Like Mr. Biren Singh has been in power since 2017, so this is his
Yes.
second term. And I feel that by and large, Manipur, despite that there was a declaration of independence by them, Al Jazeera reported in October 2019 that their dissident elements in UK had declared
Yeah,
unilateral.
previously there was also talk of giving them a separate state in the Indian Union. Like if the Métis have their rights as a scheduled tribe, why not the Cookies and
Yeah,
others?
I think you're right that there was always a discussion. But I feel that was the BJP incited violence.
Yes.
One, the Cookies also have a tribal status. Now, if you give it to the Métis who are already well settled in the Imphal Valley with the best cultivated land, best jobs in the bureaucracy, and generally having their chief minister every time. So there was a resentment that if they are given, scheduled tribe status, the jobs would be going there. It started from there. But definitely there was simmering undercurrents,
Yes.
tribal instinct, and by and large, North is not very happy. Even if you look at Nagaland, people don't know that they have a proper prime minister.
Yes.
And Nagas have their own council. Nagas have their own GHQ. It's very less discussed, and they have their own army. They have their own academy, and Indian army can do nothing about it. So that's where the Indian army is now feeling helpless. But I think this drone strike is a big. I would say this is a big slap on Indian military's face in the surveillance system, so called, because Myanmar is already destabilized. So they should have been expecting something. And if you look at the media reports, they are not even very sure that it is within. Some are saying that these are the same drone that Indian military was using and now they were captured by them. And some are saying that probably it's coming from the Chin state. Some are, I think, even saying that probably it's coming from Chittagong and ISI. I mean, you can find,
Yeah,
any
they can
number of
come up with
stories.
everything.
Yeah.
So when it comes to allegations being leveled by the Indian media as well as their politicians, initially they said that training centers have been opened by Jin militants inside Myanmar, and that same group is also an active war, embroiled in civil war against the military junta of Myanmar. So in that domain, do you think a united Christian front is being formed here, and are we getting close to that small statement given by Ms. Sheikh Sina Wajid that a Christian state is a reality inside this region?
Yeah, they could be. I think maybe you can say that this transformation may lead to a Christian state. As I mentioned, that if you look at the Indian North, is the Seven Sisters, and those which are bordering Myanmar, start from the North, Nagaland, as we discussed, I think more than 77% is Christian. Manipur is 50-50. Mizoram, again, a large Christian majority. Tripura, and then you come to Meghalaya. So if you combine all that, and then link it with, as mentioned, that there's some conversion east of Nepal and in Assam. And there's also Muslim population in Assam, and even we have Muslim, Cookies also. And then you combine it with Chittagong Hill Tracts, part of it. So add Chin state of Myanmar.
Which is now completely controlling their own state there.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're controlling their own state, and they were very worried when the Cookies were prosecuted. And you remember, it's very difficult to even discuss what happened. I think last year, by end of July, there were, I think, hundreds of people who were massacred, especially the Cookies. There was, definitely, I would say, women were also
Paraded
harassed,
naked.
paraded
Yeah.
naked. And then there were a lot of people who were wounded. And by and large, Cookies had to then migrate from Imphal Valley, the most fertile valley. And they then went to the hills. And now, basically, within Indian mainstream media, since Maitis are Hindus, nobody is taking the side of Cookies.
Yes.
That's why, there were calls. And it was also reported that, some of their injured were taken to Myanmar in the Chin state, got, let's say, they were helped medically and then came back. So, there's been movement. And Indian army can't do anything about it. The third largest military in
So
the
the
world.
BSF is also silent here. Border control.
BSF, I think maybe they are mostly on the border, but it's basically Assam Rifles which looks after
Assam Rifles,
this area. It's a huge group. And some of the Surmas were sent to, south of Pir Panjal, that they were very good in jungle warfare. And now we have problem in the area held by Assam Rifles. So I would say that Christian state may emerge. So there may be some truth in that. That's why India is now feeling actually suffocated. And it has been a civil war in Manipur. And unfortunately, if you look at Indian mainstream media or even Pakistani mainstream media, it appears that probably one, we are not aware. The other is that people don't talk about it. Whereas, even, I would say a small event in Pakistan would be blown out of proportion by the Indians. But I think chickens are coming home to roost, and India would face a huge challenge. And if you combine it with their projections of Greater Bengal and what could happen to the North Sea, I think we are looking at the initial phases of that phenomenon.
Can such attacks be reciprocated elsewhere also? Because what we have witnessed right now is the Indian Air Force was completely helpless. There was intelligence lapse. We can clearly see it that around 50, allegedly 50 drones penetrated the Indian airspace or within India, and this just bombed different villages and strategic targets in the region. So, is this going to be reciprocated elsewhere as well?
Yeah, I think if you look at the movements now. Let's start, moving toward the west. Northeast totally destabilized. It's a hilly region, difficult, and then they have only one entry through Siliguri corridor. So technically, that's why some people in Bangladesh are saying that we will now look at what is Siliguri corridor. India is threatening them that you also have to, chickens necks, and we can also cut that. So that now combine it with what could happen to, let's say, Naxalites. Naxalites control a very wide swath of almost 150 districts plus.
Yes.
They have again their own army, and if you look at starting from top, and if you combine the leftist groups, or the communist groups, like the Communist Party of India, Marxist socialists, and Naxalites. So it starts right from West Bengal itself, part of it in Assam, then you have Chhattisgarh,
yes.
then you have
Odisha.
Odisha,
Yes, regions.
the entire eastern seaboard, even I think Andhra Pradesh, and then they go down to right up to the south, they touch the south also. So it means that already, and this technology is very simple. Look at the drones. Then you look at Indian Punjab, occupied Kashmir, we've already discussed that there are some signs of. So India could be facing, I think, this ominous threat. And they were buying S-400 and, claiming that they could shoot down, PF aircraft taking off from Lahore or Srinagar. But now they have drones and PF surveillance system. And similarly, they failed, on the line of actual control with China, which is 3,500 kilometer long undemarcated borders. You may find, some activity happening there also. There are also reports of some Chinese entering 20 kilometers.
Yeah.
I don't know. So this is the total worth of Indian military.
So, would you think that it's BJP and its obnoxious idols of a majoritarian Hindu rule which is to blame for this mess, or is it something else which has an ulterior motive?
I think there are a couple of reasons. It's a complicated matter. But BJP has incited violence. Because Northeast is very, very sensitive. I would say that they should be handled with a lot of care. They were into basically talks with Naga. Now there's no news coming from Nagaland.
Yes.
Mind you, Thingling Moivia, had already mentioned, I think, when there's a very secret understanding. Mr. Doval took Modi there. And there was probably, and there's an undeclared, some arrangement has been done. It's not been disclosed to Indian public. But Twingaling Muivia had mentioned that one, we will have our own flag, we'll have our own constitution,
Yes.
and maybe foreign policy. So what is left? So basically, they're saying that we can coexist as two entities. So it means basically they're talking of separate Nagaland. So it means that BJP has incited violence, especially Manipur. If let's say for last 4 or 5 years was very quiet. I think the only thing was that in 2019 there was independence declared in one of the dissident groups in UK. Yes, that was there. But otherwise it was manageable. But BJP then went into inciting the Hindu-Christian fault line, and then they suffered. Similarly, if you look at West Bengal, they have been criticizing Mamata Banerjee, trying to link, situation in Bangladesh, and then Hindu Khatrem and all that. And she said that in case West Bengal burns, then Odisha will also burn, and Delhi will also burn, and South will also burn, and North will also burn. So it means that there's a lot of problem created by BJP against, I would say, all other communities. Maybe they are 23%, if you look at the upper caste. But Shudras, we've discussed it, Dalits, Muslims, Christians, and now you have a serious Christian problem coming up. So there'll be definitely hostile states. Now, Arnab Goswami was saying that probably it's Chinese.
Yes.
Look at the frustration. And
Then he was
was
also
saying,
blaming the Americans.
yeah, this is very interesting. He says that China is doing it from Myanmar, and so it means Myanmar is also, part of this grand, conspiracy. So they are pressurizing Manipur from the east, and then you have Americans doing it from Bangladesh. I don't know. So they have blamed, China. They have blamed, uh, I think, U.S., Myanmar,
Elon Musk X.
Elon Musk,
Yeah.
Pakistan,
Pakistan
ISI,
ISI, yeah.
and I think it's only my village Buffalo it's left.
Definitely.
They could have blamed her. So it means that it's all doing of BJP as well. And Indian state is unable to hold states together. The Indian Union is, I think, in a lot of threat. And in case the precedent sets, this becomes a domino. As there, even Joshis are projecting that Bengal is going to erupt. So we are looking at a civil war in India coming sooner than later.
Yeah, and when it comes to the Americans and the Chinese, what the Indian media always says that they have a role in this and that leveling allegations, especially against the U.S. since the regime change inside Bangladesh. Uh, like I said before, that the Indian media is not ready to blame its own government or its fault lines within, and they're trying to focus that a foreign hand is involved. So, in this entire crisis, what do you think the Indians would consider a solution to be then?
Yeah, one is they've already suffered, I think, some reverse in the last election. This is what the public has, because I think public is intelligent. Despite that, there
So,
are
is it wise to get the public completely scared right now?
that's the only solution they have. BJP, because they would still like to scare the people. There is a situation. I'm not saying the situation not instead of handling it, scaring the people and then trying to add to Hindu vote bank. It's very very absurd strategy, which is not. I think I forgot they I think blamed Rahul Gandhi also
Yes,
for money.
they right.
And Mr. Modi never went to Manipur. I think in last 5 years.
Yes.
And never even passed a comment.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of demands by why don't you? Just because it could, let's say, affect his vote bank. So if BJP is looking at vote bank by dividing India and making people fight with each other, in the long run, I think India will suffer.
Yeah. So that's it for today, folks. Please do leave a like and subscribe our channel. Bye bye.